Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GMologist Presents. I'm here with Streamrolla,
Hello.
and we are continuing our celebration in August of 2026 of hashtag RPG a Day. This celebration is from the is inspired or is from the minds of Dave Chapman at Autocratic and Anthony Boyd at Runeslinger of Casting Shadows podcast and YouTube. So we are continuing today, day 13.
You know
Strain.
what? It's a good thing it wasn't Friday the 13th, or I'd strain to be, outside the house.
Would you strain to be outside the house? I don't know.
On Friday the 13th, no, but I was trying to make a
Strain.
connection.
Strain, fatigue. We also have, that's funny. We have endurance later on. But uh, strain is like, uh, it seems like a trait. What
I don't
is it in
know.
the
I mean,
context of RPG?
I think a long campaign can put a strain on a player or a
And a
GM.
strain on relationships. Sometimes player character actions can put a strain on relationships, I think,
Very true.
on player relationships. Yeah,
Real in real players, yes, and then also in characters.
yeah, that's true. That's good role playing, though, I think. But the other one is not so fun.
No, it's not. I've had to deal with that recently, but
But
we're persevering. I'm sure that's
yes,
on here somewhere.
maybe. I don't know.
If
But
not, we need to put it on there because perseverance is a huge RPG like little word there.
yeah, but strain,
But
the strain, I think
it
the
makes me
strain,
think that, I'm on a long trip and there's no bathroom along.
oh, that could be train.
It could be a strain on me. Probably
Right.
not what they meant for us to talk about, though.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's just there's so many like synonyms here, right? We talked about burden and strain can be related to burden. The strain that you take um, through travel, through the strain and effort that you experience, um, hit points even, right? Some of it is actual wounds and damage, but some of it is like strain and fatigue. So it's a pretty interesting concept, the concept of strain, strain and stress on an item that you're trying to destroy, um, right? So it's
Or what
pretty.
about not straining the liquid before you drink it? And
That's
then your character ends up sick.
Oh, right. Strain, that kind of strain. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, the actual literal definition is it has multiple meanings depending on the
Obviously.
context. But it can be an injury to a muscle or a tendon.
Right.
It can be physical or mental. So the strain of a campaign, like what
Hmm.
about in the medieval times when the knights would go out and the strain to the queen that was left behind of, am I going to lose my husband the king? Do I have to run this place? Do I have to make my son ready to be king?
Yeah, it
um
can track mental stress or physical fatigue or overexertion separate from regular hit points.
or
Um,
even a biological subtype like a virus.
right. A
so
strain of
so for
virus.
instance,
Ooh.
what about in The Walking Dead?
Oh, right. The virus strain.
Hmm.
That's pretty
And
interesting.
obviously filtering liquids, but
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
so it seems like in RPGs, it can be used to people take on strain also to perform certain actions. They push their dice rolls or power special talents or magic. It can be used as a penalty tracker for environmental stress, fear, social pressure, like we mentioned. Enemy attacks can fill a character's strain threshold. So, for example, the Genesis Star Wars RPG uses strain to track mental fatigue and social stress, which can knock a character out even if they're physically able, which is a
mhm.
fun, it's kind of a
Or in
fun
Twilight
mechanic, actually.
2000, when you're so strained to try and live through something that you push your dice roll,
Right,
or you're the
right,
medic and you want so bad to fix the injury and you push your roll and you end up killing the character. I think I've
hmm
done that once.
right. Yeah, and then there's games like a horror survival RPG like Zas or Kala can use an exertion mechanic where you strain yourself and it's a better way of success. I guess they could, that'd be interesting if in Walking Dead they would have used that sort of stress, they would have called it strain instead of stress. But it is kind of related to all that. Um,
Well, I mean, it is a
Overexertion,
stress mechanic,
overexertion.
and it can really be straining to a character in The Walking Dead when the threat meter for the zombies keep going up and you're not going anywhere.
Oh yeah, threat. Is that down here? No.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we could talk about threat, but that has nothing to do with strain. Well, I mean, it kind of does, and it kind of
It
doesn't.
might. It can stress you out and cause some strain.
Hmm.
They're all
Or while you're trying to run away, you could strain your ankle instead of sprain.
right. So regard. Regard is day 14. We have to remember to say the day because I don't know if we've done that for all of them.
Well, I mean, I had the
Regard.
calendar up.
Yeah, we have the calendar up so people know. Regard, day 14. What does regard mean to you in the context of role-playing games?
I think it means a lot of things, like having regard for what I say my character is going to do,
Mm,
or having regard that if I tell players at the table that I'm going to be there, I'll be there, or having regard that if the GM says I'm the only one that gives the outcomes of the roles, then that's the way it is.
mhm, mhm.
So I guess it's kind of in regarding.
Yeah. So yeah, reputation and disposition, like how an regard could be like how like a fact and used in faction play. So how
Mhm.
an individual NPC or factions regard you, they can offer you better prices, unlock quests, right? And if they have
Right.
to show you, if they have you in low regard, then they might be hostile, right? Or not, or very uncooperative. And then the players have to maybe use some tact to get out of that situation. um, right? Your
You're
moral
playing
alignment.
back to
You have
day
to regard,
11.
and you have to take regard. I think your paladin, right, has to take into regard your alignment and how you
Absolutely.
handle or deal with NPCs, right? So, and
Well,
then
not just that, but I have to take in regard if I serve a deity, I have to build them a temple
well,
or
you don't have to, but
I don't have to, but
you feel like
I'm seen with more regard if I do that, which means I would have more that would want to come quest with me or hirelings or regard to because my character's you know taking a castle. So, she wants the people that she's protecting to hold her in high regard, which
mhm,
means she has to hold them in high regard first. She has to be the example that she gives.
right. That is true. That is true.
What does it mean to you?
I just kind of gave a lot of my meanings. Regard as status, regard
Right.
as,
That's as a definition, but what does
yeah,
it mean to you as a GM?
as a GM. Regard, like what as a GM do you hold that is most important in the campaign? Do you have a high regard for exploration, for the story? Do you regard your NPCs too much so that you have them miraculously escape, which annoys the players actually? Um, so, how do you handle the aspects of your campaign, and what do you hold as hold in high regard as a priority or not? And I think that is important. It's an important determinant in how the campaign plays out and what becomes most important in the campaign. I think me personally, I hold in high regard. I try to hold in high regard player agency and the exploration of the world. So I know I was discussing with another GM and they were asking me, well, what adventure are you running or what's the plan in the adventure? And I said, there is no plan. It's an open world. They can do whatever they want. And I just kind of roll with it because I hold the player's actions and their determining and the determination of their own story in high regard, as opposed to what's going on in the world. And you know what? That's why we started in the Osby game. We started in 1357 because that's when the first gray box came out. And then you weren't influenced by the products, adventures, or editions that came out after that. We just roll with it and change history, as it were, because it's our Forgotten Realms, our Osric campaign. So because again, I hold in high regard the player's actions and how they determine their fate and future in the campaign and in the world that they interact
Mhm.
with.
I hold in high regard when a player plays their character to what they would do. For instance, in the Osric campaign, the ranger went in and all he was trying to do was pet the bear, and now we have Friend Bear. And I can't imagine the group without Friend Bear.
Right?
You know, I like to make AI pictures of what the bear would look like, and so I made a picture of him wearing barding so that he can go adventuring with us. But I mean, he has a
Yep.
place in the castle, and I think when you hold in regard what characters make true to their characters, that gives them more player agency, but it gives them a greater desire to play in the campaign.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. If that is important to you as a GM, then you kind of, it's like that sort of yes and GM, yes, yes, a yes type GM. You know,
Mhm.
a player will propose something that they feel is in their ability capability, and you let them go with it. And maybe there's a die roll, maybe there's not. I thought a neat example of that is when the gnome thief illusionist crawled into that space and fixed the water trap to get air circulation back into that dwarf dwarf shrine. I think that was
Mhm.
pretty neat, right? And there's not in the rules, but the character's like, well, if I go and explore it, and I like to tinker with things as a thief and a gnome and an illusionist, and I go, okay, and see, what do you do? And then he said what he did, and so we had one, maybe two die rolls, and that's why,
Perfect.
yeah, let them try it, let the player try it. It's the player's story; they're the heroes.
Exactly. And at best, they'll endure.
They will endure. So endurance, it typically functions as a core attribute in some games, a fatigue tracker, a defensive stat governing health pools, resistance to environmental hazards, sometimes it's like a skill, and the ability to sustain physical actions over time. So it's like constitution or stamina can
Mhm.
dictate maximum hit points, um, right? So your endurance to poisons, diseases, status ailments also. Overland travel, right? We talked about um, fatigue and the burden, endurance, encumbrance mechanic in One Ring already, and an earlier RPG a day. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool, right?
You know what it makes
Travel.
me think about
What's
is
that?
a couple of years back, you ran a game for your
Hmm.
birthday, and one of the players got bitten by the snake and turned into a snake. And he made his constitution roll and he endured and he ended up killing the
Yeah,
baddie.
yeah, that was pretty cool with some luck and some perseverance, right? Endurance in the game. I mean, some players would be just like, okay, well, I guess I'm done. I'll just sit here and watch what happens. He endured through the setback that the player did and used what had happened to the best of his ability to contribute to the game. And I think that was pretty fun. So,
He ended up being the one that helped us win the campaign
or when
because of
yeah,
that situation. It's pretty
right.
cool.
In Traveler, endurance is actually one of the six primary characteristics. Defines physical fitness, stamina, and the ability to survive tissue damage. So it contributes to the health and damage pool that you have, and your
Mhm.
unconscious threshold too. So and how you resist environmental hazards and the latter. So so it's kind of neat. And sometimes it's used, unfortunately, as a survival check if you're in a certain career. Traveler is notorious for players dying during character creation. And careers like Marines, Army, or Scouts means you could suffer a mishap and be forced out of the career or even die. So
That's not helping me love and endure through going through character creation.
I know.
I don't like
Sometimes,
making characters
yes,
that do
in
it.
a game like Traveler and maybe other live pass systems, some people love them, some people just endure through them. And I
Now, for
appreciate
our
streaming.
listeners, I did roll up a character and I did not die during the character creation
No, I
or the
know. I was gonna get back to and talk about that character at some point. I don't know. Maybe there'll be something. Um, I'm
we
looking
may
at.
see her
I'm looking
someday on
ahead.
the
We'll see.
channel.
We'll see her someday. Maybe we'll see her someday. All right, endurance,
Yes. I
and I
mean,
think
I not really. I mean, endurance is just endurance, enduring the travel and enduring all of the heartache in a campaign to get to the end, or even enduring the end when it comes. Maybe it wasn't the ending you wanted.
mhm, true, true. So, lastly, composure.
What does composure mean to you, Mr. GMologist?
I think it might be time for a story, Streamroller. Composure at the table. One of our listeners, watchers, asked to know more about one of these stories where I talked about in a previous podcast. I think it was in Do You Play Too Much D&D about, and then I'd mentioned that characters, take their dice and leave the table type of thing. And I've done it, and people have done it. And for me, I definitely have lost my composure. And I think it was in a DC or MCC game at a convention, and one of the players had his character do something that hurt all the other players at the table, and it was haha funny to that particular player, as shown by his reaction and actions at the table. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with this, and I lost my composure and took out my dice and left. I'm, you know, I apologized to the GM later, but he said, well, shit happens. So he probably had done it. He's probably done it before too, or had that happen before. And we had a player one time too in a Walking Dead game. Same thing. They lost their composure, and I didn't understand why. And everyone at the table was like, I don't know what's going on. He has like the toughest character and the character that would be most useful in a fight against walkers, and he left before the walkers came. It was really weird, but yeah, you see that sometimes, that people can lose their composure at the table. Um, I have had a couple. It's almost with the same group way back, I guess, when I was in college, and we were in a traveler game, and I think it was another friendly fire incident, and one of the players totally lost their composure when I was running. And I think it was even an accidental friendly fire incident. It wasn't like on purpose, but for whatever reason, the player, who was a big guy, worked out and all that kind of stuff, he like flipped the table, and that was kind of crazy.
Oh goodness. I
And
think
same,
my
go
I
ahead.
think my example of composure would be in the Twilight 2000 game in the original campaign when Jonesy was killed
Oh,
and
right.
Kasha just lost it, but they were holding her back. I mean, they helped her keep her composure as best as they could, but the silence of all the players when that happened
Mm,
was just like, oh my God, we just lost our best friend. It's a character in a game, but you would think we were having a funeral. You could hear crickets.
yep. Yep.
So
Yeah.
being invested, so invested in a character that your composure rests upon what happens to them somewhat.
Yeah, and I think the GM has to maintain composure too I think when his favorite villain or a cool monster is taken out. And I've been at tables where a GM is arbitrary, and the villain, despite all the amazing roles that the player characters do, and there seems no logical mechanic for a villain to get away. It's just very arbitrary. And I think that can cause players to lose composure at the table and leave, or not want to play with that GM anymore. But I mean, I think it's the GM taking it a little bit too personal and not maintaining the composure of a objective arbitrator in the world. And I think that is a very important, it's a very important characteristic as a GM to maintain their composure, right? We complain about problem players, but there we need to be truthful and say that there are some GMs who can be arbitrary, and maintaining your composure is such an important quality at the table, I think.
In real life too.
Well, yeah, I think it blends into real life, right? I think that there's probably always something, we just gotta have some mercy. We've talked about that before. Have some
Mm.
mercy and compassion and realize that there's probably something else going on, not to take it personal. If someone leaves the game or, gets upset at the table and the like, I've seen it. I mean, some of my friends who are pretty even keeled, I've seen them lose their composure at the table because of the actions of the actions of a player using their player character, you know, using their own player character to just cause problems, or players get bored at the table and then just start kicking down doors, and everyone else is like, "Hey man, we gotta fall back and regain our spells and rest and all that kind of stuff." And he's like, "Well, I'm kind of bored, so I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's just what my player do." You know, not to be negative, but I just think those are realities that you see at the table, and I think composure is an important quality to have as a player in our genre.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you taking 4 days out of your life there to squish it into a video,
Yeah,
and you've remained composed the entire time.
I try. I'm probably just like scratching my head. I don't, well, actually, because I shaved today, so it's all smooth. Um,
TMI,
I'm
too much
composed.
information.
I'm composed very nicely, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, it's an opinion. But with
It
that, I'd
is.
say, hey, I do have some more boxes, but I think I will spare people the box opening for today and maybe get to that in another video. And with that, I'll say good night.
And good rolling.